Come on, let's be positive. Just stop right there. No negativity. Let's be positive. LBP, let's be positive.
LBP, let's be positive. A little bit of rain, exactly what was needed in the Mackenzie Basin, Matt.
Yeah, we have had a little bit of rain. I mean, I think the fire risk will still exist through till the end of the summer, but there's actually a tinge of green on some of the grass around here after 2 months without rain. So it cooled it down, Martin, and life feels like it's actually back to normal. That global warming I've been hoping for, it's sort of struck this year. So maybe winter won't be as cold. But actually, they tell me last time it was this hot in summer, it was the time we went to minus 20 degrees in winter with about a metre of snow over the entire district. So that makes me nervous.
Colder than the Australian Test cricket dressing room, Matt.
Well, you can imagine the mood in there as opposed to the mood in the West Indies dressing room. 27 years.
Yeah.
27 years for them to claim another Test victory. And what a victory it was. And last week, the question was raised briefly by yourself, should we be playing these?
Oh,
well, guess what?
Yeah.
This is exactly the reason why we should. The Windies were 5 for 64 before recovering in the first innings, and then to win it before the end of day 4 in the way they did shows what Test cricket's all about. Hang in, and a performance by an individual who was still bleeding from the toe, Martin, apparently. Wasn't ready to play, didn't want to come to the ground, got to the ground, didn't have his gear. My goodness, the story that delivers is something the short form of cricket can't. There can be upsets over a 20-20 or a day, but this kind of performance is why people love Test cricket. And the West Indies are saying, we need more. We need more. And I'm not sure they were saying that up until this victory, but now they've seen they can win. They want more, and I want more.
So, and also what you're saying there is you know, the upsets in T20 or limited overs cricket, 50 over cricket. The problem is that you're only upset for a day. This one lasts forever, doesn't it? And that's the thing about Test cricket. We will talk about this for the next 10 years, 20 years, or maybe 27 years until it happens again. In the meantime, who won the Super? Oh, I don't know. Was it rained out? Who's winning that Bangladesh T20? The South African T20 at the moment. Are the cornholers playing the bum slappers? We don't know the result. Look, it's just a whole lot of meaningless dribble, isn't it? And yet this, you got to realise as well, Matt, that the whole world celebrates when you lose a Test match, mate. We all celebrate.
Exactly, Martin. Exactly. And you know what? As much as I didn't like to see that they'd won, the fondness I have for Test cricket is always rekindled that little bit extra when you see that these results can take place. You lose a few early wickets or 4 or 5 wickets into one day, pretty much the game's over if you're 5 for 64. But to be able to play over 4 days, fight back, have a bloke with his toes smashed by an amazing Yorker, and then come out and take 7, player of the match, the series, come on. I mean, what more do you want? Rodney Hogg said they were pathetic. They were an absolute waste of space. He said they were hopeless. And they took that and they say that was inspirational to them. And I tell you what, none of them will ever forget it. And even if Shamar Joseph never does anything better than this, wouldn't that be a great thing to hang your hat up on?
No, it doesn't have to do stuff all else from there, does it? The other thing that sticks in the craw is we're kind of also celebrating the Poms winning, beating India. So this is the worst thing that could happen in your cricket world, isn't it? You lose and you're celebrating the Poms.
Yeah, and honestly, I want everyone to beat England. I am less fond of England than I'm less fond of India, if you know what I mean. I would have loved India to win it, but that's, you know, look, this year...
Well, we're finding positives, mate. That's the point of this. We're finding positives because we're being positive.
Sometimes I'm not even struggling, actually, Martin, to be positive. I'm not struggling. I don't know why.
You'll be struggling about Jürgen Klopp, though, won't you? Because how do you put a positive spin on that? The fact that you're now going to tailspin into a decade or more like your eternal rivals, my mob Man United, since Sir Alex left.
Oh, surely someone can come in and keep the ball rolling.
Why? We thought that too. 6 managers later, mate, we're still asking.
Oh. Well, this will be his 8th year, right?
Yep.
And I reckon he sees massive, massive success this year and a great way for him to finish. But it's always hard to lose the man that's got you to the great finish. I don't know. Who do we bring in? I mean, who's on the table? Are we even thinking about that yet? We're just soaking up the detail. What I do know is it's our year, regardless of the future. Let's be positive and just focus. Just focus on where we are, the lead we have, and the unstoppable, unbeatable nature that we're displaying this year. It's our year, Martin. We're going to rack them up and we're going to have a massive party for the German. That's it. That's what we're going to do.
Australian Open and the Carrot Top wins. So we're celebrating the ginger, the Fanta pants, aren't we? And those fans that turn up dressed like carrots. Now, I'm stunned that there is not a mainstream media sports organisation in this country who isn't outraged by this on behalf of people who might be outraged about the fact they take the piddle quite clearly, quite blatantly, quite obviously out of the fact that the guy's a ginger. They're Italian fans, but they love him, and their group is called Carota, and they dress like carrots. Come on, Matt, be outraged.
We loved every time a fat man does something good, and we also tend to love, even though some look at it in a derogatory manner, I think we love when the gingers do well.
We do, mate.
For whatever reason, for whatever reason, we love it. We love it. I mean, there's this idea that the fat man can't bowl or bat, and the ginger can't deliver to the same level as a blondie or a dark-haired person.
There you go.
So you jump on it and you just take it. They're those little details of life that we all have to get in and enjoy. I was delighted when Djokovic was knocked out.
Same.
Last week we're talking about the Aussie Demon. This week the Sinner, and the youngest winner of the Aussie Open since Djokovic in 2008, and a breakthrough. I mean, where does he go from here? The Australian tennis crowd and those that go to tennis in Melbourne for this tournament are now fans of the Sinner. And I'm looking at the Australian Open site. One of their used to be Twitter. It's now X. It says this, Australian Open, hashtag Australian Open, sublime from Sinner, then an emoji carrot.
Right, there, brilliant. Great, okay. So the
Aussie Open's on, we're on. It's not derogatory, it's enjoying the ginger. Yeah, because we feel sorry for them in the hot Australian sun. They burn easily. They've got to use a lot of sunscreen and wear thick hats and T-shirts. But when the carrot tops come out on top, we emoji up to the maximum.
All right, let us be positive. Finally then, on the ATP and the WTA, whatever they are, who run professional tennis, and the fact that this protest about the Ukraine war is obviously and clearly working, Matt. So they've got a Belarusian woman wins and a Russian guy gets to the final. And they don't have any flags by these people because that means that we don't acknowledge that or we don't know where they came from. Is this one of the most pathetic gestures that anyone around the world has made towards what is going on in the Ukraine, which people have forgotten about now because it's not the war du jour, that's Palestine now, isn't it? But, not having flags beside the names, what is the point of this again?
Don't know. I mean, what does it actually mean?
What does it mean?
You remember at one point, if you were Russian, you couldn't even compete anywhere. They wanted to ban them from everywhere. And that doesn't work either. I mean, the truth is, I think most people don't even know what to believe about that conflict.
No.
And the more you read about it, the more it becomes impossible to actually take a side, given that we just don't have a deep enough knowledge of how far back it goes. And you're dead right. It's big for a moment. Everybody cares. We're all putting flags up on our Facebook posts. We're standing with Ukraine, all the rest of it. And then all of a sudden, well, we need some fresher, newer news.
Yeah, that's it.
And the public care only as long as they see it on the front page. And then they move on to the next thing where the media is trying to influence our opinion on which side we should take in the Middle East. And reading over the weekend, Martin, I don't know if you've seen the story, but members of the United Nations have been stood down because they apparently were involved in the initial attack. So how is it that we even believe or back the UN when people within them apparently, it appears, were involved in the initial attack? So where should the narrative go now, and how much will we actually read about that? And when will the results of the investigation come out? And what will the recommendation be? The recommendation will be we need to do another study.